those in the know are claiming that AI will do everything from completely altering the economy by replacing millions of white collar jobs, to going full Skynet from Terminator and destroying all the humans. Like you'll get every opinion on what AI is gonna do. But in the next decade, what roles do you see AI taking over, or what things do you see AI doing that humans are doing today in the marketing space, particularly?
Yes, I don't really see any stop with that, to be honest. Like I think it's growing so exponentially. So yeah, we already see some kind of AI creating ads for Facebook, for example,
Mm-hmm.
which I think those are not at the level of a human yet. But I think that within a near future we will definitely see those performing higher than a human being. So I think like just focusing on how to work with AI and how to use it in your advantage will be what will be the most, the highest paying jobs and what most people will be focusing on in the future. So I think just, you need to learn how to use AI, because in the next 10 years, I think pretty much all of these standard jobs will be a lot different, and you will need to know how to use AI. So yeah, I would almost say all of them. I think it will change, do really big changes in the job market. So I think a lot of these jobs that we currently have will be completely different and only pretty much only using AI to your advantage. So yeah, a lot of changes. I don't know what do you think on that topic?
Yeah, it's a really tough one to predict, because I think what happens is that people will try something. They'll try something like Chat GPT, and then it will spit out a result that is not very advanced, and then they'll think to themselves, "Oh yeah, this thing's way behind. It'll never catch up." But usually, what ChatGPT is returning to you is based off the information that you provided to it. So what you'll see is, with the people who are using AI really, really well, somebody like you, for example, you are strategically figuring out what to feed the AI, the machine learning, so that it gets you the right answer that you're looking for. And so there's a wide variance of how well AI is performing today. I'm a little bit more experienced with it in terms of, you can see all my posters and stuff in the background. I also write films and TV shows and things like that. And in fact, I'm filming a movie in a couple months here. And so I'm a little bit more familiar with trying to get the AI to write things, just to see how well it could do in that regard. And I think what people, like, I've done this before too. You're like, hey, write me a script about XYZ, and it'll write a script, and it's horrible. It just does not work. It is not a good script. It doesn't work very well. And I think that a lot of the writers have said, like, well, see, look, it's not very good. But I think that the misnomer that people are missing is it's only as good as the inputs that it has available to it. And because of that, the more people focus on the inputs, the better the outputs become from the AI. So, for example, while I do think that, let's say, I could write a better film than ChatGPT could write with very little inputs, I think that there's some people that could go out there and say, I have here's a Shakespearean play. I want you to write this Shakespearean play, but write it in the style of Quentin Tarantino. And it basically, given those plot points and given the fact that it can identify all of the things that are happening in that particular story, and then interpreting that into a film that sounds like something that Quentin Tarantino would write, I'd go, I think it would probably do that pretty well. I haven't tried it. I haven't tested it yet. But if it's not doing it well today, it's going to do it pretty well tomorrow, right? Like it's just learning at a pace that's unbelievable. So I think about that, and I take that, and I think about that in my own work, and I think about, a lot of times I'm preparing funnels for people. And so I'll take a look at, like, what is your business model? How does your business model look? As a fractional CMO, I'm thinking to myself, well, where's the marketplace going? What are the needs of your customer base? What is your competition doing? And if I look at those three things, and then I go, okay, what is your offer to your customers? How does that offer function? How do they go through a decision-making process? And then how do I come along that decision-making process with marketing, so that we build a funnel that's appropriate to their decision-making process. And I think to myself, I don't think we're that far from the AI being able to do quite a bit of what I just described. It can't do all of it today, and I think that for at least in the next few years, maybe 5 years, it's going to need someone like me to tell it what to try to do. But if I think about it in the context of thinking, okay, well, what if I sat with an AI and just went through minute detail by minute detail about how I come to a decision about what I'm going to put in a funnel or in a marketing campaign or why I'm suggesting what I'm suggesting, I think it could get pretty good at doing my job. You know what I mean? Like, so I think the way you said it is the most accurate way. I think it's going to take over a lot of jobs. And what we need to do then as professionals is learn how that we can start using it to augment what we're already doing. At some time, may it take over our jobs completely? It's a possibility, but at least we can be on the cutting edge of knowing, like, let's tell it to do these things because these things will lead to better success for our clients, better success for us, and we'll see where it goes from there. But I think it's a little bit more fascinating to look at it from like how long have you been in the business arena thus far?
Yes, I've had this agency for a bit over a year, maybe 1 year and 3 months. But I've been in this before and worked with AI before, and I totally agree with what you said before, that you need some kind of human input in order for it to work. Like, I had big problems with finding the perfect prompt for it to write the personalized first lines. It tended to be very generic, and especially, like, I saw some people in the space working with, they let the AI create a cold email and copy, so what they send to the client, and it's not really in the cutting edge of writing cold emails. So it's kind of just like in the middle. But if you learn to tell it how to write the emails, it will benefit so much. So I think it will always, or for the near future, it will need the human touch. But I think a lot of these jobs, like before, I tried paying someone to create these personalized first lines, but now I don't need someone else to do it. I just do the input from my side and have the prompt there. So it's removing those low-end jobs, I would say, and then if you learn how to use AI, it will benefit me a lot. But it will always need me to do the input in the beginning for the next coming years, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think part of it too is interesting because I'm assuming, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm assuming you're quite a bit younger than I am, let's say, right? Like, I've worked for 20 years now in marketing. And so for me, I'm at a different place where I'm looking at AI and thinking to myself, okay, I probably have another 20 years in my career, let's say 25 years, maybe 30 years. What do I need to know about AI, and how do I need to adapt to AI? But so everybody at a different stage of their career needs to look at AI in a different way to understand how far it's going to go in the time that you still have available in your career. Now, I know that sounds like it's a very scary thing that a lot of people would not like to actually talk about, but I think it's kind of imperative, because what you don't want to do is, like, if I was just graduating college right now, right? My advice to a lot of people graduating college, because I used to work at a university where I helped students and alumni start companies, do startup activities. And that was about 5-6 years ago. But now I would tell students, like, you need to pick an area of expertise that you want to be good at, and you need to understand how AI will affect that area of expertise, and you need to be good at it. Like, that, there's not a lot of other options for you. Even if you're going to go into a trade that's not a white collar job, but maybe is like you're going to do construction or you're going to do whatever, learn how AI is going to affect construction, because it's going to affect construction in some way, shape, or form. I'll give you another example. And I'm sure you've had lots of experiences like this. I went and I told you about this short film I'm doing. And before I do the short film, I'm actually filming a table read with local actors. So they're not SAG actors; they're just local actors that I happen to know. And I'm going to practice because I'm directing both the table read, and I'm going to direct the film as well, co-direct the film. And I needed a contract. I needed a contract for them to sign that says, basically, we're just doing this table read together, and that's it. And I went through, like, SAG has contracts, but they want you to use them in order to get access to those contracts. I went through and found a bunch of other contracts that were through professional lawyers that were offering contracts, and all of them had like some kind of, you'd start building the contract out and then you'd hit a paywall, and I'd be like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. I spent like 15 minutes. So I spent an hour and a half, probably maybe 2 hours looking for a contract that would work. And I go, you know what? This is not a complex contract. This is a very simple contract. I could sit down and write the contract myself. It's not like it takes like you don't need to be an amazing lawyer to figure out how to write this contract. It's a very, very simple contract. And I go, I'm just going to go to ChatGPT and ask it to write me an actor contract. And I had a contract 30 seconds later. You know what I mean? Like it did it easily, and I'm going to have to adapt it, and I'm going to have to adjust it a little bit. But my point is that people would pay lawyers, you know, what, $300 an hour, sometimes $500 an hour to do a contract for them. And I can get a very, very similar contract in about 30 seconds for free. I think it's going to impact a lot of jobs in a lot of ways. Now, this is not me saying you should use ChatGPT for legal advice. Don't do that. Don't do that right now. We're not that far along. But I think in the future, these are some of the lawyers have to figure out, like, okay, how do I use ChatGPT for somebody to go ahead and just enter some information and then get a contract that we can stand behind. And I think it's going to change really rapidly. So I would mirror what you said. You have to be knowledgeable of how it works, and you have to know when you can use it for pretty powerful stuff. And I've really appreciated what you've done in your videos, because it's opened my eyes to, like, for example, I would not have thought to have the AI basically go and look through someone's profile to then write a first line. I wouldn't have thought of that, right? So it's helpful for me to hear, oh, that's how other people are using it. That's awesome. I didn't even know it could do that right now. So learning from people like you, I think, is a really important thing to do. So any other thoughts about AI that you want to throw out there for folks?
No, I don't think so. I actually did the same thing with my contract. I did it, asked ChatGPT, and then I sent it over to the lawyer to get the time frame shorter for them. As you said, it's especially when you're starting out, it could be expensive with paying a lawyer to do it. So it was funny that you brought that up, since I've done the same thing pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good way to do it. Have ChatGPT write your first draft, review that, and then send it to the lawyers to get it shored up correctly. That's a really, really good idea. I love that.